before we get into the activity diagram, I would want to show you one more thing, guys, which I forgot to tell you. Here, in your payment, we would receive the payment using cash, card, or check. So this is your complete use case diagram as I have mentioned. Okay, clear? Now, let's go to the next kind of a diagram that is called as an activity diagram. Okay, so for the activity diagram, guys, similarly, you have to go click on the UML activity, and I will open a new drawing, and this is a new drawing, and again I'm going to select 75% or whichever percent you want, you can select, guys. Okay, so now before I talk about the activity diagram, let's talk about what comes under the activity diagram. Okay, so under the activity diagram, what are the important components of an activity diagram? I'm sure you all know that. Number one, we have the activities, the flows, right? We have multiple scenarios called as decision box, under which we have a guard condition. Then we will also talk about branch and merge. We will talk about fork and join. Okay, we'll also talk about multiple other factors. Clear? We'll also talk about the swim lanes. So these are the different things that we will learn in the activity diagram, and I'm sure all of you have already learned about this in the workshop. So now let's see how you can put all of this in a MS Visio tool. Okay. So let me again get back to the tool. Yes. So guys, I'm sure you all know that whenever you start your activity diagram, the first and foremost thing that you'll have to do is always start the diagram using a start node. You all would use the or work on the activity diagram using the start node. So again, go to the activity matrix. We have an initial state. So please get that initial state to the scenario. Okay. Once you have the start, then we would start handling the diagram. Okay. First, once the initial state has been met, what is the next thing that will put across here, guys? Is your first one. What is it? It is to record the item. So I will take an action state here. Please drag the action state. I would again double click on it and I will say record the item, because it is a system that is doing this. It is no more the user that is important here. It is a system that is very important. So first and foremost, I would say record the item. When you're recording the item, how do you record? Compulsory, we should have a item name and the price, right? Both are important. So I would use a fork and join. So we will drag this fork here. Okay, I will drag it. Okay, now I will take a one activity, another activity. Now I would say item price and item name. Item name. And I'm again going to close it with the join again. Guys, just to make it look more pleasing, I am making it look nicer. That's it. Okay. So once I have the item name and the item number, then I would talk about how do you add this to the list. First and foremost, before you have the complete, because you will add it to the sales transaction, a total sales transaction. So first, the cashier would have to create a list. The cashier would create a list. Create a list. Or he can also add to the list. Guys, please understand, either you would create a list if it is a big set of items, or he would add to the list. That is very optional, which is why I have not put it into the fork and join concept. Okay, clear? So because it is not fork and join, it is branch and merge. I will just drag a decision box and then we'll put it, guys. For now, we'll put on the control flows now. Okay. First control flow starts from the activity diagram. Again, you'll have a control flow here as well. And please understand, all of you, without your control flow, the activity diagram will not make any value, guys. So every activity must be attached to a control flow compulsory. Without that, there is no value to the activities mentioned here. Okay, so I am again attaching it to the control flow. So as I mentioned here, we have to put a active. Okay, then again we will close the same with another decision box. We will close it like this. Done. Done. Once we have done with this, then we will have another control flow. So once you have added to the list, what is the Nexen system would do? It will display the list, right? So double click on it and say display the list. Okay, so once this list has been displayed, which would include what? Your items and your name. So let me mention the list of item and name. Okay, once it is displayed, the item and the name has been displayed, then we would generate the sales total. Then generate the sales total. Okay. Once the sales total has been generated, again, you should definitely have the total price and the tax, without which the person, you cannot do the payment. So again, I would use fork and join here, guys. So undoubtedly, for once the sales total has been generated, the system has to automatically add what? The sales total and the tax. Okay, or else I would use the word total price of the items. Okay, again, I will close it with a join. Again, we will close it with a join. Again, we will combine them like this. Again, we will combine this. Done, guys. So again, I have put a fork and join to combine it. Now, what would I do? The system would authorize the payment. So now we will again go take another action item. Say authorize the payment. Once the payment has been authorized, then either the payment would be done through cash, would be done through check, or would be done through the debit or credit. So cash, check, debit or credit. Guys, because this is a either the payment should be done through this, this or this. So because it is again a branch and merge, so we would use a decision box, guys. So let me drag a decision box. Again, we would close it with another decision box, guys. So okay, then automatically receipt is generated and the inventory is updated. Again, we would use a fork and join again, right? Because they has to happen both together, right? So let me just go down a little. Then I would say receipt and this thing, and then we would join it. Okay. So let me take the because now we have completed our activity diagram, we will close it, guys. Then we will close the diagram. That is how we will create the diagram. So sorry to mention, generate receipt, update the inventory. So let me repeat the activity diagram again. So guys, in this scenario, what happened? Because activity diagram is purely system related, it is completely the action done by the system. The actors are not that very important, right? Having said that, the system would first record the item, irrespective of which cashier or whoever is recording, it doesn't care. The item would be recorded. So once you are recording the item must be recorded using the item price and the item name, which is why we have used fork and join. Then once it has been recorded, if it is too many products, then we would create a list or we would add to the list. That is the reason why we did not use fork and join, because creating a list is not compulsory, it is an optional step, right? We would add to the list. So once it is added, then we will display the item. The system would display the item name and the item details, and then it would generate the sales total. Now, when you're generating a sales total, it is very important to tell the total price and the tax to the customer, right? So your total amount that you have to pay will include your total, anything that is there to add, and then compulsory will add the tax. Then you will have to have a authorize the payment. So the payment will be authorized. Again, the payment has to be done through cash, check, or debit. And then once it is done, then automatically the receipt would be generated and the inventory would be updated. So this is how you create an activity diagram for this scenario. So just like a use case diagram, we will think from a system perspective, but not from the actor perspective. Okay, guys, I hope this is very clear to you so far. So these are the two very important diagrams that we have to draw as a business analyst. However, we do have something called as sequence diagram. I'm again repeating, guys, sequence diagram is not a BA's job. So we will not worry on how to create one sequence diagram. However, as a business analyst, because we have also taught you in the workshop, I'll just see how would you navigate, or where are the icons or the symbols in the MS Visio. Okay, so I will again go to a new drawing. I will just put it to 75%. Then I will select the sequence diagram option, and then I will create one diagram just for understanding. So guys, if you remember, for a sequence diagram, we have to understand two important points. One is MVC guidelines, and then the three-tier architecture. Eventually, we need to create the classes in order to create or construct this sequence diagram, right? So in MS Visio, you cannot draw the shapes that we have shown in the theory part. However, we do have the classes. So guys, the object is your object lifeline. Okay, so we do have an object lifeline. Okay, so how many ever classes that you have, you would have a object lifeline. Okay guys, clear? Now, so if you have to draw, you drag this a little further down so that you have to understand what is happening here. Done. Now, once you have the lifeline set, now we will talk about the steps. So here we will take up the flow of the data. Here we will take up this message. Okay guys, we will take this message and drag it to the option. Now, because we need to write on the message, I would use, for example, login. This is how we should write. Say okay. Next, once it has been logged in, then I will go to the next one. So guys, before we talk about the flow, let's rename the objects. Okay, so renaming the object, I would use an example called as employee login boundary class. Okay, double click here. Again, I would use the word login controller class. Guys, for this, I'm taking the example from our workbook only again. Please do not worry. This same example is there in our workbook. So you can refer to our workbook if you have any questions. As long as you're able to understand how things work in Visio with sequence diagram, it is enough. Because I told you, right, we only need the readability knowledge. Okay. Employee login boundary class. That's it. So the employee will log in. Then from the login, the login will verify login data. Will verify login data. If you remember, this is camel casing, guys, which is why we have V is small, L is big, D is big. Reason being, it has to go through this data. Then again, we'll also put an activation part here because that's very important for our class. Okay, then we have the login success. Again, double click on it, say login success. Okay, then because it is an employee entity class, it will return the message. So we have an option to say message that has been returned. So we will use this return message again. We would put a, what would be returned? Status value. Say okay. Okay, and if you have any kind of validation that you have to show, please use this option here called as validation. Again, double click on it and you can changeable. That's it, guys. So again, I'm telling you, as long as you're able to understand what is the message, what is this camel case, what is this return, and what is this validation, we are enough or good to go, guys. You do not have to have any extra knowledge when it comes to sequence diagram. Just understand what it is and how it is, because a developer might give you this diagram to read, only to read. So if you're able to understand what it is enough. And developer will also help you to understand the diagram in the real scenario. Okay, so you don't have to worry. So guys, having said that, we have completed the use case diagram, activity diagram, and the sequence diagram in MS Visio. So if you have any questions related to the same, I would recommend you to join the doubts clarification session that happens in the morning 7 a.m. or in the evening 7 p.m. to clarify your content related doubts. Hope this session was helpful to you. Thank you so much and have a great day, guys. Bye.